Soloman was a board member for the Newhall Elementary School District. For those who don't know, we have in Santa Clarita, first of all, we have the William S. Hart School District that covers all the junior highs and all the high schools with the exception with 4 elementary school districts: Sulphur Springs, Saugus, Castaic, and which encompasses how many schools?
We have 10 elementary schools, UPK. Have also preschool, some state preschools, and two of our schools, Peachland and Newhall Elementary School.
Districts are wonderful in Santa Clarita. I know we've put both of our kids through there. You have been involved. Do you want to reveal that?
Do I want to reveal that? Yeah, because I think that's important. I think people need to know. I started volunteering as a parent. Attended elementary school beginning in 1992.
Back when I had hair.
Back when you had hair, and back when I was probably thinner. Involvement. Newhall was such a great school district. It's always been for parent involvement. And so at the time when my oldest was in there, they were implementing the multi-track year-round system. And Old Orchard, if you want to have a successful multi-track system, you need to have at least about 750 students. And so as a school community, we put together a parent group called Save Our School, and we not to implement multi-track, and that was my first foray into becoming involved with the school district. So many opportunities for parent involvement, both at the district level and at the school site level.
So you started grassroots.
Thought, well, you know, when I was a kid, I loved civics in school, and I wanted to be one of 3 things: actor or president of the United States. So civics kind of just, and education were so important to me. So meetings with people who were very involved out in the schools, like Kimberly Wooten and Sue Nyberger, Phil board member in the William S. Hart board, and attended the meetings for probably about 3 or 4 years. And then I decided to learn the business of the district, understand what the governance was, make those connections, and campaign and won right off the bat.
So you've been on the board since 1999 now?
Yes.
A long time.
Education changed both quickly and slowly at the same time. And what's really great about it is part of and observe the evolution of education and how all of the different trends that come and in Newhall School District particularly, how the teachers and the administrators needed to be done with all the different types of learners that were coming into our schools, our English language learners, our children with special needs. And also, you know, the instructional program is so great. What impacts student learning. And with that, too, we also have a great belief in the arts. As had an orchestral program for 40 plus years, and my biggest legacy, one of this is probably one that's mine, is creating an arts education master plan that will over time. And so with that, we've been able to implement hip hop dance in 6th grade. 4th grade has drama, have music, TK through 6. So in the primary grades, the kids are learning about reading notes and recorders, and then they can choose to be in our instrumental program. And so, and we have visual arts at all of the. So it's been a really comprehensive experience to watch Newhall grow its educational program. And we've had the benefit of the experience of probably all the superintendents since my time, starting with just a parent, as parents always say, but you're never just a parent. And Dr. Mark Winger, a vision, kept on top of everything that was coming down from the state and kept the Newhall School District moving forward. And Paul Cordero came in and brought back some tools that we had in our toolbox that helped improving student learning. And then Jeff Pelzel came in educational leadership, and we call him the transformational superintendent because he brought things into a very 21st century. And then the interesting thing for him was he got stuck with the pandemic, but it was very much a learning experience in bringing resources of the 21st century and technology into the classroom. And now we have Dr. Leticia Hernandez. It just brings with it not just the experience of a great educator, but she was a student in our district in Newhall Elementary. So she has that family. It's been really great.
What's the population of the district now? Student population?
In terms of
6,000, quite a few. We're talking with Sue Soloman, who's on the board of the Newhall Elementary School District here on KHTS 1220, your hometown station. And I know you've never been asked this question before, Sue, but what's the if the Department of Education federally is dismantled?
Well, that's the big giant question mark for all of it. It's how funding is going to go, like Title I funding, which supports, in bringing parent involvement into schools and educational resources to it's what's going to happen to special ed funding. There's talk of that going into the health department, but you need experts to look at that. You need education experts. So, and then there's also the Office of Civil Rights that their educational program. So there's all these big wonders. And then the other piece too is when legislation is into policy at the federal level, who's going to be doing that? Because that's a lot of what states have to look at too when they create their federal policies that we need to look at. So there's a lot involved with it.
And then the other piece of the puzzle is here in California, really heading in a direction of having more and more control of education from the state standpoint and taking standpoint at this point?
I don't really see that happening at this point. I mean, the few conversations I've had with some was it just needs to be when the state comes up with something, don't make us always implement. Let us go there and let us have control of what that needs to look like to customize it for each. Might be doing all the same California standards, but we implement everything differently based on the needs of our community.
Here in Santa Clarita is going to operate and have a different type of demand than a school necessarily in Culver City. Different needs are different.
Yeah, community culture.
You can't do a cookie cutter thing from the state
You
and
can't.
mandate it down. It's got to be on the local level.
It needs to be. 60s, it was run by the state, but it was a very different state at that time too. We didn't have such a diverse population and of people in our schools. So the system did not quite meet the needs of every child. So it needs
So you mentioned special education, and special ed here in Santa Cruz has been stellar in all the schools, and percentage of special ed, special needs kids, because people will move from the Los Angeles district, which a special ed program, into the public schools here. So our percentage of special ed kids is much higher than the rest of Southern funding because of that. So is there any light at the end of the tunnel?
I mean, a lot of the funding, when it comes down from the federal government, it goes through the state. And the state does, first of all, the feds don't give us the state doesn't send down all that we're entitled to either. Battle we face. And so I don't know. The fear is that the federal government will say, oh, everybody gets $10,000 per student. That will never work because all the students have various medically kids. So, you know, one size fits all in special ed will never work in terms.
Solomon, stop in, get to know you. Next time, you have to come with a spelling test for me in Delgado, okay?
Oh, that would be.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll take it away.